Alright, so on here, again, first 10 problems. The first one said evaluate. Now, again, if it says the word evaluate, that means that we're going to try to simplify it. Usually, though, if it says evaluate, we have to plug something in first. So here they gave us an expression, and they gave us a number to plug in for x. So we're going to take this equation and plug in the negative 3. So we have negative 2 times negative 3. And again, that whole thing is raised to the second power. So now, negative 3 times negative 2 is positive 6. Positive 6 squared is 36. And that would be our final answer for that one. On number 2, which of the following triples does not satisfy the equation? So this is the one that was a little tricky because there's actually 3 answers here that work for what this is asking for, because it uses the word not, and actually 3 of these do not work. So if we were to plug them in, 2 going in for A, 5 going in for C, and 15 going in for B, it would not be equal to 10. And again, I'm going to plug it in over here just so you can see. So 2 plus 15 over 5. 2 plus 15 equals 17. 17 over 5. That does not equal 10. So that's going to be one of our answers. On this one, if we plug them in, 5 plus 2 divided by 15. 5 plus 2 is 7. 7 over 15 is not equal to 10. So that's also one of our answers. On this one, 15 plus 5 divided by 2. 15 plus 5 is 20. 20 divided by 2 is 10. That one works. So again, we want the ones that do not satisfy the equation, so we're not going to circle that one because it works. And the last one, 2 plus 5 over 15. That's 7 over 15. That does not equal 10, so that one's not correct either. So again, there's 3 that were not correct. For number 3, there's a couple different ways that you can do number 3. Again, it's going to turn into a quadratic. So anytime you have a quadratic, you end up with 2 solutions. However, it wants all the values where n is greater than 2. So it doesn't want both solutions. So on here,
teachers and students are just interruption. If you have any students with a testing task, they must be released at this time so they can report to their testing room. Once again, if you have a student in your class with a testing task, they must be released at this time so they can report to their testing room.
alright, so on here, get rid of the square root by squaring both sides. So we'd have n plus 4 equals, now this is n minus 2 times n minus 2. So we have to multiply that out. N times n is n squared. N times negative 2 is negative 2n. Negative 2 times n, also negative 2n. Negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4. So now, we can combine those 2 in the middle. That gives us negative 4n plus 4. We can bring over the 4 and the n by subtracting. So we're getting this set equal to 0. So subtracting both of those. So this side's now 0. N squared. This part becomes minus 5n. This part, positive 4 and negative 4, cancel out. Give us 0. Now, we could plug into our quadratic equation from here.
Teachers and students are just interruption. Well, the following students that have the specific teachers must report to the gym. Mr. Wright, period 1, 2, and 3. Haskin, period 7. Wise, period 8. Chris, period 1, 3, and 4. All these students that have this teacher in one of those following periods I announced must report to the gym at this time.
Anyway, so again, we have these. This we can either plug into our quadratic formula, or yes, come on, focus. Again, we can either plug this into our quadratic formula, or you can solve this by factoring. And actually, on this one, factoring is going to be a little bit easier. So we can factor out an n from both of those values. So n comes out, leaves us with n minus 5. Again, when you solve by factoring, you set each of the factors equal to 0. So we have n equals 0, and we have n minus 5 equals 0. Add 5, you get positive 5. So you have two answers. They wanted only values that were greater than 2. So the only one that's going to work won't be that one, only going to be this one. Because again, they said that our answer had to be greater than 2. So again, that was probably the hardest one in the first 10 problems. On number 4, how many values does f of x equal g of x, given that the parabola is f of x and the line is g of x? Well, again, when we have a system, it's wherever they intersect. So how many times do they intersect? 2. There are 2 solutions. On number 5, which of the following products must be positive? So this one you kind of had to reason out. This is using our rules for exponents. Anytime we have anything raised to an even power, it will always give you a positive number. Doesn't matter what the number is. So for C is raised to the 4th power. So no matter if C is positive or negative, we'd have a positive number. So this equation is saying that this whole side is positive because it's greater than 0. C, we don't really know. It could either be positive or it could be negative. Now, A and B, since they have odd exponents, whatever you have as far as a number raised to an odd exponent, if it's positive, it come out positive. If it was negative, it come out negative. So on here, in order for us to have had a positive number, A and B must have the same sign. So A and B would either have to both be negative or both be positive. So down here in the options, again, we don't know if C is positive or negative. So C could be positive, C could be negative. So we don't know. This one, C could be positive or C could be negative. We don't know. This one, C could be positive or C could be negative. So it's going to change our answer on each one of those. This one, A times B, well, if both of these are positives, we get a positive number. Or if both of them are negatives, we get a positive number. So that one works. On this one, if both of them were positive, it would give us a positive number. But if both of them were negative, A would become positive, B would be negative, and we'd have a negative in the end. So that one also doesn't work. So since A and B must have the same sign, A was the one that works. So again, that one you had to reason out using your exponent rules. On number 6, here we have our symbolic function. So we have A and B. We're replacing A and B with 4 and 6. So we have 2 times 4 squared minus 3 times 6. 4 squared is 16. 2 times 16 is 32. 3 times 6 is 18. 32 minus 18 is, what? 14, yeah. Sorry, I didn't hear the teen there. Sorry, I thought you just said 4. I was like, it's a little more than that. But, all right, yeah, 14. All right. Any questions on that front piece? So on that first page. Yeah. let's go to the second page, which on your paper, it's, again, still on the front. So you're just copied to the page. All right. So on number 7, if m is equal to 5 and 4 minus 3m is equal to n, find n. Well, they gave us m so that we can plug into this equation and then solve for n. So we have 4 minus 3 times 5 equals n. 3 times 5 is 15. 4 minus 15 is negative 11. That's our answer. A circle has a circumference of 18 pi. Find the area of the circle. So we got to use two equations here. First, our circumference formula. Circumference equals 2 pi r, if we're using the one that requires radius. And then area is pi r squared. So I'd use the circumference formula that requires radius since we got to plug in the radius. So they gave us a circumference of 18 pi. So we got to solve. First, we can divide off pi. Well, pi is on both sides. So that cancels. So then we just have to divide off the 2. So divide by 2. And we have 9 for the radius. Again, that's not the final answer yet. We got to plug it in. So area equals pi r squared. So 9 squared. 9 squared is 81. So you have either 81 pi, or if you multiplied it out, 81 times 3.14. And again, either of these would be good for an answer. So again, depending on what they have as multiple choice answers, could be either in terms of pi or as a decimal. Most likely it's going to be as a decimal. On number 9, we have if 12a equals 36, then find 2/3 of a. So first we have to solve for what a is before we can plug it into this one. So 12a equals 36. We're going to divide off 12. So a is 3. Then we can plug it in. So we have 2/3 times 3. So our final answer is just 2. Because when we multiply this one, you multiply by the top, divide by the bottom. Well, those end up canceling out and just giving you 1. So all we're left with is the 2 on top, which is just 2. So that's our final answer for that one. For number 10, this was the last one from yesterday. So we had x minus 4 squared. And it just wanted us to simplify. So we just have to multiply that out. I'm going to go ahead and do 10 over here in the column so that I have more room. So again, if we're squaring it, that's the same thing as saying x minus 4 times x minus 4. Then you're going to have to use your distributive property, or FOIL, to multiply it out. So x times x is x squared. X times negative 4, negative 4x. Negative 4 times x, negative 4x. And negative 4 times negative 4, positive 16. You can simplify it a little bit more by combining those two middle numbers. So you have negative 8x plus 16. So that's our answer to number 10. All right. And that's for number 10. Any questions on the ones we went over today? So again, as you can see, we're already done. You have the rest of this class period to work on the next set. All right. Any questions? All right. So again, for tomorrow, I'll check off numbers 11 through 20 tomorrow. All right.